welcome back to Gravity Rush 2. We have a bit of a longer part today because we have one side mission and then more plot, and you kind of can't put the side mission anywhere else. It was either tack it at the end of last part or at the start of this part, so...
Yeah, I feel that. Oh boy. Okay, so who's this lady? What floor of the town are we on, first of all?
Middle, I think.
Middle? Oh, okay. Because, like, just from this particular image, I would have thought she would fit in with upper class area as well. Just because the hairstyle and the...
I mean, she might be upper, I can't really tell from, the faded background.
Okay, so here's a question. The middle area is the area from the first game, right?
No.
No? I thought you said that...
None of this is areas from the first game.
I thought you said that there were areas from the first game.
Yes, we haven't gotten there yet.
You don't get to those until
okay.
later. I remember that from watching Hayden's video on the game.
Okay, so then my question is, what happened to all the other parts from the first game that aren't in the second game? Like, because the town was big, and I know that it's not all of it, but it's a chunk of it.
No, it's the entire area from the first game.
It's the entire thing from the first game?
Yep.
Damn. Okay, that's impressive.
It's always impressive when a game focuses on new areas and then has you revisit a place that you've been to before, and it's just a small portion of the game's total size.
It's the entire town from the first game.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a small part of this game, and that's an impressive effect. It's like, look how far we've come.
Yeah. I mean, it really wasn't that much of an effort, considering the original town had to be designed for Vita.
Yeah. They still probably touched a lot of stuff up, though.
Oh, I mean, obviously you got a graphical overhaul, but just in terms of the size and geometry is probably just the same skeleton.
Yep. Okay.
He's a writer, and he's going incognito for information.
You see, with these glasses on, nobody can see me.
No, you can't see anyone.
Look at, like, Kat with her ace detective work over here. Jesus. I need to buy the Switch version of that game. The
game?
Millionaire's Conspiracy. That came out fairly recently, the Professor Layton game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got the 3DS version, and then they announced the Switch version like pretty much immediately after I bought it. And I'm like, God damn it! But I need to get the Switch version of that.
Do we have a general consensus on the Switch versions of the Ace Attorney games?
I don't like the art. I mean, it's the same art from the trilogy version.
Is it based off the trilogy version? Okay.
Yeah, I can't stand the art in the trilogy version.
Yeah, I still kind of have an affinity for the pixel stuff.
It's better
3DS
animated for one, because there's missing frames of animations. The eyes look really weird too. That's a thing that bothers me. And one thing, I don't know if this is the case in the Switch version, but on the 3DS version, there were typos. There were a lot of typos and graphical glitches in the trilogy on 3DS. I don't know if that's still the case, but...
I hate it when I see, like, straight-up typos in a professionally produced game.
Yeah. And I mean...
typos happen, but in a port...
There's a lot of them, too, is also the thing. Like,
guys,
it's not just the one.
It's like, guys, have you ever heard of a spell checker? You give me, like, 10 minutes with a game script, and I could catch this stuff and revise it for you, and I could do it for, like, $10. Hire me.
The funny thing is
What,
that they were
$10?
also
Holy
supposed
shit.
to remove typos, and they did remove the most famous one, but there's a net total of typos in the entire game. So,
you mean a net gain of typos? There's more typos than they started with?
there's more typos than they started with.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, granted, in terms of, like, price, it's like $60, I think, or more to get the 3 DS cartridges, and, like, it's like $30 to get the trilogy, so I can't in good conscience recommend that somebody get the DS versions over the trilogy, because that's a lot of money. But it's just, I think they're so much better on DS. So maybe it's just me.
One of these days, I'll like muster enough of a shit to give about Phoenix Wright to actually get one of the games and play them. And I'm sure I'll really like them, but it's just not a genre that I explore very often.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, you don't have to be. You don't have. Not every game is for every person. And
Yeah, I know.
Phoenix Wright is a pretty niche series, so.
It's like the only reason that the Professor Layton game sticks out in my mind is because I bought it on a whim, and then they announced the Switch version, and that kind of stinging blow to your pride just doesn't go away. So,
It's like walking out of a store with a brand new shirt that you really like, and you pass
And
by
then
another store and it's on sale.
Or you pass by it the next day and it's now 50% off.
yeah, yeah. Oh well.
Although I guess at that point you go and return it and then just rebuy it.
But I also really like mystery games, like specifically detective-based mystery games. So.
Well, I mean, maybe this is just my experience with the first game, but I do not like the way that the Layton games handle their mysteries, personally, cause.
Robots, na 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 na.
Well, it's not even just that they're ridiculous; it's that there's no lead up to it. It's not something.
Yeah, no,
you could-
they come out of nowhere at the very end.
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
Oh.
of course.
Oh well.
How did you not know that it was robots the entire time?
The thing about this particular game is that it's actually a bunch of smaller mysteries rather than being one mystery that stretches across the entire game. So it's more of an episodic thing.
That probably works out better in its favor then.
Yeah. Also, I've watched an episode or two of the anime, and it was glorious. So, like, the main character is like the granddaughter of the Professor Layton from the other. No, not the granddaughter. I don't know, niece or something related to Professor Layton himself, and she goes by her own. She goes by Layton as well. So the first thing that happens is someone walks into her office and asks to see like the main character of the other games, and she gets so pissed off. Like she's constantly trying to like establish herself as just as good as detective, but people are always asking for the other guy. So it is charming. Okay, so author time. We're still
We
doing.
found him again. Yep.
We're still doing the author thing. This guy does not look like he writes books. This guy looks like.
He's putting on disguises to get information about what it's like to live as these people. Method acting, as you would.
That is not how writers research things. I'm just gonna.
They say he's an idiot, so.
Okay.
Womp womp.
Wait, so does everybody dress like that?
No, the guy who just passed us was the actual author.
Oh, okay.
So he's a master of disguise, and he's using it for the one thing that it doesn't really help for. Okay.
Yep.
Sure. I mean, we're talking like the level of disguise that they pull in anime where they don't have to explain how you look like things.
It's the kind of disguise that you can rip off all at once.
Well, yeah, literally. Detective Conan has characters who do that. They just rip off a sheet or something, and they're out of their disguise. And it's like, I thought this was a mystery series where you could explain how you were doing things. It is something magical. And the only explanation for why those characters can do it is because he's a magician or she's an actress. Because that's how actress makeup works.
I want there to be an episode of the Pokemon anime at one point where Jesse and James go to rip off their disguise and do the Team Rocket thing. And then instead of actually, it coming off immediately and they go into their motto, they're just like stuck trying to rip it off and it doesn't work.
They've probably
For,
done
like,
that
a good-
gag but like 6 or 7 times by now.
Oh, there's like 3,000 episodes of the Pokemon anime, so I mean, probably. But if it does exist, somebody should show it to me.
For just once, I would like to see Ash question why so many people have talking Meowths, though. I mean, you
That
think...
would imply that he's smart enough to notice, though, also to
Yeah.
be fair.
Yeah, he's kind of oblivious to everything around him.
I need to get the Pokemon Adventures manga one of these days and experience some actually good Pokemon storytelling.
It's really good until you get to Gen 5, which is ironically the worst arc.
That is very weird because you'd think that arc would work really well in
I
Pokemon
know,
Adventures.
right? It's like decent for a time, and then
It just gets really bad.
yeah.
Huh. Odd. I guess Black and White didn't actually do well in any adaptation.
Yeah, because the anime had issues too, I remember.
Yeah. Why is okay? So adaptations are directly inverse to the quality of the story in the games themselves. It seems.
Yeah. Here's... It's like, I can understand why the anime had trouble with Black and White, because the games went in a direction that the anime canon couldn't really support.
There was also the earthquake, I think, at that time as well, which also had some production issues.
Oh,
because of
yeah,
that.
you're right. But, like, in the anime, okay, there's this whole thing that's, like, very, very well established, and it's been considered, like, a in-universe tradition ever since the start, where kids go out at exactly 10 years old and they get their starter Pokemon and they go on adventures. But, like, then Black and White comes along and says, nah, we're gonna make our protagonist like 14 or 15. And the only clever thing that the anime was able to do with this is to say, Bianca's trouble with her father got so bad that he didn't let her do her Pokemon adventure at age 10, so she's a teenager and she's just getting to it now. And that makes sense within the lore. But then, like, basically nothing else about Black and White works anymore. So
No, because Black and White talks about a lot of things old kids anime is not going to go into.
yeah.
I mean, it's almost as disappointing as, like, I mean, I know a lot of people really like the Gen 7 anime, but, like, the Gen 7 games go into issues of child abuse and neglectful parenting, and they don't touch on that, like, at all, from what I've heard. I haven't really watched it, but from, like, what I've seen, I believe that Lucamine, however you pronounce her name, is just pretty much straight up presented as a good guy the entire time. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Are we raising this goddamn bird again?
Yes.
So basically what you're saying is the anime was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Yeah, but that's
Kinda.
also part of what I didn't
But,
like.
you know,
about Ultra Sun.
without the gameplay improvements that made up for that.
I mean,
Doesn't make up for it though.
Well, I mean, a lot of people like the post-game content in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. But
it's
like,
not worth the game, 80% of the game before that being identical.
Well,
And-
yeah, it's kind of like, it's weird. Okay, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon sort of tried to do the same thing that Black and White 2 did, which is like go back hard on the tonal things that they try to do with the story, but instead of
It's not, it's too different in some ways to be a third version, but it's nowhere near different enough to be worth a sequel.
yeah, it's like, okay, in Black and White 2's case, I can accept that the story is just not as good. Because, you know, like, even if I don't like the story in Black and White 2 as much as I like the story in Black and White 1, I can still enjoy having a fun beach episode sequel in the same setting after that good story happened. But Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon feel like they just went all Miyamoto on it and made Super Mario Galaxy 2 Pokemon Edition, and
I mean, kinda, yeah.
I don't like
But
it.
Super Mario Galaxy 2 at least had the advantage of being 95% new levels. So, you know, there was that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just talking story-wise. Like, it's a worse version of the same story. So, and it's intentionally a worse version of the same story because some creative stupid head decided story was bad. Nintendo.
Now
Why?
back at the plot.
Why? Should we get back to the plot? I don't know. I was having fun talking about Pokemon. Did somebody say food? Wait. Oh right, she's a big eater because that's her quirky, feminine, cute personality trait. Because they needed to have at least one.
It's also a shonen trope, so yes.
Yeah.
It's like Big Eater and Big Drinker is another one, too. Like, that's one I know that Fairy Tail does, is one of the, like, the sex appeal type characters, like, is always, like, drinking a whole lot. like comically so.
Oh yeah, the drunk.
Well, it's like she doesn't like act drunk from what I remember, but like she literally will take like an entire keg of beer and like drink out of it and stuff like that.
Sometimes they do act drunk, like Tsunade and Naruto acts drunk. I don't know why that's a trope or where it comes from culturally though. So
I guess it's just funny because it's not expected.
Well,
Typically,
except it is expected because they've done it a million times. So
well, I guess not expected for a person to act like in the real world, quote unquote.
oh,
Like acting drunk in public is kind of taboo, and this is in pretty much every culture, not just Japan. But I guess they make light of it more in Japan. I don't know. I'm not gonna assume why something is funny for them, but
eh.
eh. Oh yeah, gets lost. That's the other big
Yeah, no sense of
Japanese
direction.
trope is gets lost.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Fucking Leon, it's a straight road and it goes for 2 blocks. Just walk.
Which, oh, you're talking about the Leon from Pokemon.
Pokemon, yes. They're talking about how he's gonna get lost.
There's literally no side routes in this game, Leon. You can't get lost.
There's only one side road between the station and the first town, and it's like a 2-foot divergence that just takes you through some tall grass. You'll be fine, Leon. But yeah. Eh.
So why is Raven just hang? Doesn't she have her own crap to do?
No.
Okay, so it's kind of nice to see these two like palling around like this now that they're not hating each other. It is kind of charming. We didn't get to see too much of that in the first game, did we? Like they made nice
No.
eventually, but like now they're like old friends. It's kind of charming when that happens. It's giving me the same kind of feelings that I got at the end of Devil May Cry 5 and Virgil and Dante were laughing together after so long. It was just nice to see.
Oh wait, don't they hate each other and want to kill each other?
Sort of ish, but like they, all right,
Ish.
they're like deadly rivals with different ideologies, but they kind of like decide to team up at the very end of Devil May Cry 5, and they're both trapped in the demon world together, so they have like no fucking reason to hate each other now. So they're just fighting each other and keeping score and laughing about it, and it's pretty nice. It's a really bittersweet ending for the two. Well, until the next game comes back and they're fine and they get back to the human world, and it's going to happen. Don't at me. So,
Is Virgil a DLC character in DMC5?
not yet. No, I mean they've modded him in. You can play as him with mods, and he's got a move set based on his boss attack moves, but they haven't made him playable in the game yet. No, I doubt it. I doubt it's not going to happen eventually. I mean, they finally got around to doing that in DMC4 like how many years later, so yeah. But it's weird though, because like when the game first came out, there were rumors that we were going to see playable Virgil, and there was also the rumored Ladies Night DLC where they were going to make Lady and Trish playable, and it seemed like a sensible thing to do because like it would make sense for them to have done that with DMC4 Special Edition and then expanded on the characters they made in DMC5, but no, it hasn't happened. No DLC whatsoever. It's so...
That is a bit weird. Maybe they just want maybe they wanted to pull like the Data Boy route where it's just that's the game and that's kind of it.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do playable Virgil, Trish, and Lady for the next game, though. But they put so much effort into like improving Dante and Nero, and also creating V. So I'm not exactly sour about not having those 3 playable characters. It's just odd that they never did it. when it seems like such an obvious thing to do. I mean,
yeah, this is boring plot part. Sorry.
I mean, they even have a color palette swap for Virgil in the cutscenes so that he can wear his classic blue coat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you
Wasn't
unlock
aware
it.
of
You unlock it by beating the game on hard mode, I think. But the only thing it affects is like you turn it on in the options menu when he's wearing his blue costume and in his boss fights and cutscenes. It's just so weird that they have the alternate color scheme for him, but he's not playable.
Yeah, that is weird. Normally, they don't make costumes for like non-playable characters.
Well, I can think of a few games that have made costumes for non-playable characters, but it's a rare thing.
Yeah, it's not usually how they like to... I mean, it's just usually such a minor thing. Like, I guess there are a few examples where, like, they'll change everybody's costume, but not usually just one person.
Well, I mean, she's technically kind of playable for like 2 minutes, but Ashley in Resident Evil 4 has the armor and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I guess she is pretty related to gameplay, though.
Yeah.
Versus if it's just like a costume kind of deal,
Yeah.
which what it kind of seems like with Virgil.
Yeah. Yeah, because he appears like at the very end. Alright, so we're killing things. That's always fun. What are we killing things for this time? Are we still competing for ore?
For gems, yep.
Yeah, we're competing for ore.
Mm-hmm.
Rivalry.
So do we have
Friendly
to beat?
rivalry.
Do we have to beat Raven?
Yeah, well, we just have to get to the total that it tells us to.
Ah.
The flower will proceed as it needs to.
You can just like hover below Raven and collect the gems she drops, can't you?
No, not really.
No?
And it doesn't really matter. You need to get their prescribed amount anyway,
Ah.
because you can't steal them from her. You need to get the certain amount anyway. So
Oh, I see. It looked kind of like the gems fell out and then could be sucked in, though. But I guess that was just a quirk of the animation.
but yeah, Raven keeps beating us. Again, she's just better. She's just better than Cat.
She just like, I didn't do so well, but she's got more than Cat does.
I like that. And it's like I don't know why that would get you so down when she's talking about how bad she did.
But hey, combat time, so that's always something.
Compete to see
Oh,
who
and
can...
we're pulling a Gimli and Legolas. It still only counts as one.
Poor Gimli, he didn't get to do anything interesting in the movies.
It's
No, not really.
It's unfortunate because, like, in the books, he's kind of well, the books weren't really about characters, but he was pretty serious and dignified in the books. But they turned him into a comedy relief punchline a lot of the time.
Like, I mean, you can make him a comic relief character. That's fine, but it would be nice if he got to do something.
Well, yeah,
Like, he doesn't,
I mean, like,
I can't remember any cool action beats revolving around Gimli.
well, I mean, like,
And Legolas got like 6.
well, I mean, like, there's a lot of comedy attached to, like, Barrett, for example. People generally respond well to strong, gruff-looking characters who wind up doing a lot more funny stuff than cool stuff, because it's anticlimactic in its way. But Barrett also had a lot of serious stuff attached to his character along the way, too. You can do both, but, like, after Moria, Gimli doesn't get to do anything except, like, jokes about how much lamer he is than Legolas.
Yeah,
And
like
he's constantly always having to be helped by someone because he's a dwarf. He's short. Haha.
I mean, again, like, I know that he doesn't really have much going on in regards to the plot, but at least giving him a couple of action scenes where he can look cool would have been nice, instead of having Legolas doing, like, 12 extra ones, you know?
But Orlando Bloom's hot, so there.
I mean,
Well, that's
he is.
That's kind of
but...
a thing, though. Like in The Hobbit, particularly, every dwarf who was supposed to have any kind of serious role in the story had to look conventionally handsome too.
Yeah, and everyone else looked like
Goofy, lumpy, dwarfy, bearded
Yeah.
people. But no, this one dwarf that has the romance arc has to look like a swarthy young guy. And
Also, the leader has to be attractive.
the
'cause
leader
he's the
has to
leader.
be fucking Aragorn. Like, he has to literally be Aragorn. So yeah, it's annoying. But
I mean, there's a lot of things that are annoying about The Hobbit, but
Yes.
other people have already talked at length about
Mhm.
why those movies are not.
well, why can't we do that
Exactly.
too? We've got time to fill. It's not like Cat is going to win a competition.
Not so much in this part because we're kind of only at a minute left.
Wait,
Okay.
was she really one short or was she lying? Was Raven one short or was she lying?
Mhm.
Like,
Did we beat her, or...
I get the feeling she might have just said she was one short on the combat competition.
Yeah, she lied.
She
Yep.
lied.
Oh man, they're so gay. It's amazing.
Okay.
Like, look, I noticed the scene when they were in the bed together, and she was like lying on her and crap. Like they're hella cute together.
Is this gonna be another conversation where it's like Frodo and Sam, and they have somewhat touchy-feely scenes, and that means they're gay? Can we not, please?
Well, I mean, first off, this is the internet, so characters don't need to be gay to be gay. Which
Truth.
we've seen.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean,
I've read fan fiction.
I never really saw it with Frodo and Sam particularly. Maybe I watched it when I was oblivious in 13. But I always just got like a best bros vibe. But then again, maybe I just wasn't. I haven't watched it in a while. Maybe I'll see the sparks fly next time I have 14 hours to spare watching The Lord of the Rings.
Well, you won't have to spend 14 hours next time when you're watching Gravity Rush parts. Yay.
I mean, unless if you're binging, in which case, thanks for the ad ref.